So, what happened to Sam Harris? I always thought that mindfulness and meditation was good for you. So, I don't know, either it's not, or he's just doing the wrong kind. Here's the headline. Sam Harris says Donald Trump is worse than Osama Bin Laden, and that Osama Bin Laden demonstrated many virtues. Now, I did listen to a bit of this, and he did say that Bin Laden was awful and that he was glad that he was dead. And there is nuance in his argument, but it doesn't really matter, because if somebody thinks that they're Napoleon Bonaparte, it doesn't matter how well they argue that they are Napoleon Bonaparte. They're not. So what was he saying? He said, I've said on several occasions that I think Donald Trump is a worse person than Osama bin Laden. That statement is obviously meant to get your attention. I get that it's surprising, but it's not meant to be hyperbolic. I can defend every word of a statement like that. What I can't defend are people's misunderstandings and erroneous extrapolations of a statement like that. Oh, you mean a statement like, Trump is worse than Osama bin Laden? The statement that you're saying is not meant to be hyperbolic? The statement that you're saying you can defend every word of? I'm sorry, but Sam's just digging a hole here. Remember when he said this about Hunter Biden?
I mean, Hunter Biden, at that point, Hunter Biden literally could have had the corpses of children in his basement. I would not have cared.
Yeah, this isn't making it any better. He went on to argue that bin Laden, despite the harm he caused, was a more or less normal human being psychologically. Yeah, because everybody knows a bin Laden, right? Or actually, they don't. But he continues, but within the framework of his odious beliefs, he demonstrated many virtues. He was a man who seemed to be capable of real-life sacrifice, and he was committed to ideals beyond his narrow self-interest. He was, by all accounts, personally quite courageous. I don't claim to know that much about him. Then why are you doing this in the first place? If you don't claim to know that much about him, why are you making this claim and then saying you can defend every word of it? This isn't making any sense. Anyway, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if he was generally a person of real integrity and generosity and compassion in his dealings with his fellow Muslims. None of these things can be said about Donald Trump. Trump is without question one of the least honest and malignantly selfish human beings I have ever come across. As far as I know, he's never met Trump. Is he saying that Trump, amongst his friends, isn't a person of integrity and generosity and compassion? He doesn't know that. And in fact, I've heard that he does display those qualities with the people that he's close to. Again, this is feeling like a real stretch, isn't it? But anyway, apparently over a week later after his bizarre Hunter Biden, whatever that was, he's continued to claim that Trump isn't psychologically normal and is a morally despicable human being. I really just find this baffling. I mean, everything was better when Trump was president, not just with the United States, but with the world. I mean, geopolitically, it was more stable. The world is falling apart right now, and Trump's not president. Never mind bin Laden and 9/11. Biden has been much worse for the world than Trump. I really, really find this baffling. And the funny thing is, I mean, Sam Harris does acknowledge the terrible ideology of bin Laden. And certainly the world that bin Laden wanted is a much worse world than Trump wants. And if his first term is any indication, he wanted peace and prosperity. Bin Laden wanted theocracy. And God knows what Joe Biden wants. Quote, the seeming paradox is that if Trump were a better person, he would be worse in many ways. If he were brave and self-sacrificing and idealistic, if he were capable of being strongly committed to something beyond his self-interest, he would be capable of creating much greater harm in the world. So, again, I'm not seeing this great harm in the world that he caused, at least not compared to other presidents. But as for this, if we were brave and self-sacrificing and idealistic, he was a billionaire businessman. He took on a job that pays, $250,000 a year? He's been put through constant trials and tribulations. He has been hounded by his enemies. He didn't have to put himself through all of this. I think you could make a case that he has been brave and self-sacrificing, whether you like him or not. If he wanted to live an easy, self-interested life, he wouldn't want to be president. This all just seems deranged to me. He says, You could walk 1,000 miles in any direction and not meet a less admirable being than Trump. This is all just in his head. This is, I think, what happens when you're just in a complete bubble. I typed in Trump is the worst threat into Google, and here's what came up. Dick Cheney attacks Donald Trump as the greatest threat to our blah, blah, blah. Trump is the worst threat to our democracy since the 1930s. That's ridiculous. Trump is the worst president in history. Also ridiculous. Although The Atlantic did write this before Joe Biden had time to do anything. Trump's 10 worst abuses of power from CNN. Noam Chomsky believes Trump is the, what does he think? He's the worst criminal in human history. Oh, Noam, you complete lunatic. Here's New York Times opinion. Donald Trump, the worst president in modern history. If that's what you're looking at all the time and you're not getting anything else, yeah, that could derange you. But this still puzzles a lot of people because Sam Harris is smart. He is. You can't deny that about him. But it shows that perhaps nobody can ever actually be truly rational. And I'm sure if Sam Harris decides that he's Napoleon Bonaparte, he'll make a great case for it. But he still won't be. Anyway, please subscribe, like, and share. Sharing really helps me out. I thank you for doing that. I'll see you next time.